Are you actually enjoying being busy, or are you just trying to avoid having FOMO?
Welcome back to the pod, guys. Hey, lovelies, it's Tia.
Welcome back to Tea Time with Tia. If you are new here, hi. There's new episodes every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I feel like I need to start saying that more.
So life's been really chaotic and busy recently. There's a lot of new adventures going on right now. There's a lot of new ventures in general going on. And, sometimes I fear with my personality as an oldest daughter and as someone who's just very generally a go-getter, I fear that I have fallen into a pattern of trying to avoid FOMO or trying to avoid my feelings. And I know that's very raw to throw out on the internet as a person, but I feel like we all do that. It's so easy to do that, where it's we can't stand the idea of sitting still for very long because then we have to hear our own inner thoughts. That's awkward. So I'm not really sure how to fix that. I'm not sure how to fix that or balance that out, realistically speaking, because this has been a part of my personality for ever. Ever since I can remember anything. I've always been a kid. I'm not a kid anymore. I'm 27, almost 28. But I was always that kid that wanted to do all the sports or all the extracurriculars. And then when I went to college, I wanted to do all the clubs and all the student intern opportunities and all the hands-on learning experiences and all the extra credit stuff. So, and then now as a post-grad adult, however many, it's been 5 years since I graduated college, guys. It went really fast. Now as a working adult who is a creative, who has the opportunity and availability to just take as many side quest jobs as I want, now I want to do them all. And I don't know. I was sitting in my house the other night thinking about this of wow, now that I have to now when I'm home, then I realize that's when I have to process my feelings about life and actually think about what I've been thinking about throughout the day and not just the running through work, running through life thoughts. That being busy is a form of avoidance or escapism. Ooh, yeah, that burns. Yeah. Not a great thought to have, right? But there's that emotional avoidance part. And then there's also the thing about FOMO. You can't say yes to everything, right? But I find myself operating in both lanes, right? So there's the FOMO lane, right? You don't want to miss out what everyone else is doing. Whether if that's literally you don't want to say no to gatherings that you're being invited to, or you're just afraid of being behind. And so you start saying yes to things that you wouldn't usually say yes to, so you don't feel like you're behind in life. That could be things like dating or certain gatherings or groups that you think you're supposed to be in. For example, for myself, being in my upper 20s, there are certain expectations, I guess you could say, of life, right? So feeling you have to say yes, be a part of gatherings, be a part of groups and activities and things like that are expected, right? It's easy to fall into that. For the FOMO part, you really do develop a fear of missing out sometimes when you're so focused on what is perceived of you versus what it is that you actually want out of life. Because really you have to stop and ask yourself, do you want that thing? Or is it that you think you have to want that thing because everyone else wants it? All right. Well, that was a great episode, guys. Anyways, that's all. I'm kidding. But it's such an awkward thought to sit with. Do you want to be part of that run club? Or are you just going because of your friends? Are you a part of that community gathering because you actually wanted to go? Or is it because your friends will be there and you don't want them to be having fun without you? Genuine question. You have to ask yourself those things. Are you saying yes to things so you don't feel left out? And then there's the other lane. The lane of avoidance. Let's talk about avoidance real quick. I think it is so easy for us to operate out of a place of avoidance of ourselves. We may not be avoiding anybody or any one thing, particularly because we might be thinking about as it pertains to everyone else, right? You might be avoiding you. Ooh, that's an uncomfortable thought. Are you filling your schedule so you don't have to look at yourself and sit with your own thoughts and really have to develop an understanding of where you are at in life? You might be. Guilty. Okay. As somebody who is a go-getter by nature, who loves a full schedule, who loves going and doing all the things, it is so easy to get so used to those busy rhythms that you never have time to even just sit with your own thoughts at night because you're so tired from whatever it is and you gotta get up and do it all over again, right? So you just go to sleep. You don't even stop to process how you felt about your day. You don't give yourself time to. Wow. Well, this is awkward. I think that for a lot of us, emotional vulnerability is not possible because we're not emotionally vulnerable with our own selves. Forget trying to be emotionally vulnerable with someone else. Can you do that with just you in the room? Or have we deprioritized that so much because we've got to get everything else done? We've got to go live our lives. We've got to keep up with whoever down the street. We've got to be in the groups that everyone else tells us we're supposed to be a part of. But you can't even be with yourself. Maybe that's why you're struggling to actually connect with everybody, even when you're in a crowded room, because you haven't even made peace with yourself yet. Could that be it? That might be the problem. And I say this as somebody who is actively very guilty of this. This has been a thought that I've had to sit with for a really long time this year. Shout out to my therapists that have goaded me along in these conversations. They're not fun conversations to have. They are not fun thoughts to have. I'm starting to understand that as I make peace with myself, as I actively become okay with having to process my own thoughts, feelings, fears, joys, all of the messy parts of being human just with me, somehow I've been able to develop a deeper sense of self that has led to a deeper sense of being able to connect with others. Maybe empathize better, maybe be a better listener. Because really, if you are supposed to love others as you love yourself, what if you aren't loving yourself at all? You might actually be really, really bad at pouring out of an empty cup. You probably are. You might be giving everybody the little drops of whatever that's left, right? You might be doing good at that, but that's not enough, because who's pouring into you? Are you ever able to pour into yourself? Are you even able to receive from other people because maybe you don't think you deserve it? Okay, well, we got really deep there. Super, super deep there. But yeah, those are my real thoughts. Like, you have to be okay with sitting in the uncomfortable spaces with yourself before it ever makes it to anyone else. It sounds maybe a bit harsh, but someone else cannot fix your inability to love yourself, because you might not be able to even receive their love in the first place. Are you able to sit in the awkward silence with yourself before you ever sit with anyone else in that awkward silence? Sometimes you do have to ask yourself, would I say those things to myself if I was another person? The answer is probably no. When it comes to self-deprecation, you would very quickly tell a friend not to talk that way to themselves. Hopefully, this could be the year that you figure out finally how to be at peace with you and just you. And that's not to say you don't need other people, but I believe our ability to connect with others starts inside of our heads and inside of our hearts. We have to be at a certain place of peace with ourselves before we ever can truly, accurately, and realistically love someone else. Otherwise, you're going to be operating out of a place of chaos, truly. And again, it's not to say you can't bring other people in the mix on your journey, but you have to check yourself. Do you have enough time to check yourself and just hear your thoughts and hear your own heart before you ever ask someone else to? I promise you, you deserve every bit of acceptance from yourself as much as the next person. I know it's really easy to look at someone else and be like, they need to love themselves. It's easier to look somewhere else and tell someone else to do that. But you also deserve to be at peace with yourself, regardless of what you've been going through for the last day, month, week, year, your whole life even. You are just as deserving of getting that chance to find that within yourself, to be able to start emotionally processing better, to start having better inner dialogue, all of it. As long as you're alive, you have another chance to figure it out. Maybe this is your springboard into that. I hope it is. We each are given the chance to do self-discovery. And I think in that self-discovery, we're supposed to find some self-empathy and understand who we are and how to love that person. Not in a conceited way, not in a narcissistic way, but to care for ourselves in a way that reflects that self-respect that we say that everyone else should be giving to themselves. So we can accurately pour out of a full cup into others. And so we can be as complete of humans as we can. This human experience sucks, quite frankly. But it can suck a little bit less with a little intentionality and a little bit of grace. I hope that this summer is the summer that we all find our way towards a little bit more self-empathy so we can accurately go into the world and have this full human experience. We might be getting in the way of our own experience. And that's not to bash on anybody, but it really is our own self sometimes, right? But why do we want to get in our own way? Do we think that we don't deserve a good experience? That's all my thoughts. Get out there and, actually don't get out there. Stay in if you have to. Do a little journaling. Do a little self-reflection. Maybe do a guided meditation. Just, learn what it is to sit with you before you sit with anyone else. It's an ongoing process for me to learn. It's been very fruitful, I think. It's not perfect by any means, but it's meaningful. And I think in that, my life has become fuller. And it will only continue to be fuller as I continue to dig my roots deeper into just understanding the complexity of it all. We're never going to have a full understanding of it all, but it's worth a shot, at least trying to. I'm rooting for you to find deeper meaning and deeper gratitude for where you are right now. It may not be perfect and it may not be good right now, but it can get better. You have to believe that for yourself too.